Hello, everyone. Welcome to Leadership from the Heart series with myself, Renee Funk, and the one and only Miss Elizabeth Riley. Hi, Elizabeth.
Hi, friends. How are you guys?
So excited about this. When you think about leading from the heart, there's a few very important people that come to mind, and they're right here with us today. We're here with Tanin Teston out of Orlando, Florida, and Brian and Tisha White out of Dallas, Fort Worth. Where do we even begin on how much we love these guys, Elizabeth?
I know. I've been looking forward to this because, you know, Renee and I always talk about, with you guys as well, our tribes and our people and the people that are surrounded and how blessed we've been just in this organization to meet the people and have the relationships we have. And I mean, you four are definitely one of the first on that list. And so this is going to be super fun. And it's weird because we know y'all so well, but we're like, okay, where do we start? Right? Because there's going to be a lot of fun and energy on this, I know, but it's like, I don't even know where to start. So I think, why don't we just introduce them first?
Fantastic. Well, Tanin Teston out of Orlando, Florida. There is so many things I can say about both of you. You are rock star real estate agents building a phenomenal business in Orlando, Florida. You are so focused on building community, giving back. And also, can I just say, I'm very envious at how focused you are on fitness, and you're great parents. It's amazing to have you here. And I'm so excited to hear you share more about your journey.
Thanks, Renee. I appreciate that. Yeah, those are very nice words from you.
Everybody's so formal and polite. Criminal property. Here down, guys. It's going to be fun because Brian and Tisha White, they have the BlueFuse Realty Group out of Dallas, Fort Worth area. They are so much fun. Like, I watch you guys, and I wonder, both of y'all, when I say both of y'all, both couples, I watch y'all, and I'm just always laughing because I can't ever imagine Wes and I doing that or being funny or just how y'all are. And so, Tisha, you're always hilarious, whatever you're talking about. And Brian's just like, hey, yeah, what's going on? So you both, I love what you're doing with your branding. I love what you're doing with your community. You've got, Tisha, you're outnumbered. You've got all boys in your household, you know, and it's just fun to be a part of your journey, not only on the real estate side and see the mega success that you're experiencing, but also as a family. And we feel like we're right there in your living room. So I'm excited for everybody to get to know you guys as well.
We have all girls too, by the way. So it's all boys and all girls.
Okay.
Wow. Whoa. I didn't know you had all girls. I thought you had a boy in there.
Nope, just a big boy dog. That's all we got.
Dog.
Renee has all boys. I've got, you know, I planned it better than all of you people. There.
You have the perfect mix.
That's right. Except I don't have a husband-wife team. And I feel like we're on the Brady Bunch a little bit right now. Or one of these things is not like the other.
Right.
Because all three of the tiles are all husband-wife teams. And then there's me. And I think Wes would rather die before try to be a husband-wife team alongside of me. I don't think we would make it work real well.
Oh, goodness.
Well, we're going to dive into that whole working together as couples, certainly at home. I would love for each of you to share about yourselves and your journey. Dan and Tanin, would you like to kick us off? Will you share with us about yourselves?
Sure. I've been in real estate now. This will be my 12th year coming in this year. And we hit a point, probably 4 years. 4 years ago, almost probably the last couple of months here, it would have been 4 years. And where I either had to get an assistant to come on board to help me kind of grow what it is that I've been doing for the last 12 years, well, that's about 8 years, or Tanin was at a point where she was kind of getting not a little burned out, but just at a point where wanted to change in life, and where she was going to go. So she put in her notice and was like, I'm going to get my real estate license and I'm going to do this. And then I'm like, okay, you know, that's what. And just like Elizabeth was probably saying, I don't know. I think we're all kind of a little taken back at first. You're all like, is this husband, wife, is this going to work? Is this going to allow us, you know, are we still going to be able to stay married and work together every day? And all you can do is just give it a try and go with it. And that's what we did. So it's been a little rocky at first, but I think once we figured out kind of what direction we were going to go in, it just really took off and just crazy out of orbit at this point in time. Now we're just on cruise control and just kind of going with the flow. But excited.
To give you a little background on when Dan and I first met, the very first night that we met, real estate is what brought us together. So this was back in 2004. We're out at a bar. I'm with my girlfriends. He's with his buddies, and we meet up outside. At the time, we were both smokers. So I go out there, and this handsome man is out there, and he lights my cigarette, and we start talking. And at the time, he was in a construction business, owned his construction business. I was doing title closings, and we just started talking about real estate. And I said, you know, initially I went and got my real estate license when I was 20 years old, and I wanted to be a realtor. He's like, I've always wanted to be a realtor. So here we start talking about real estate over drinks and how we both want to be realtors. But little did we know, 4 years later, we'd be, well, not even 4 years, 2 years later, we'd be married. And then a few years after that, real estate. And I told myself at the time, I would never marry or date a realtor. I could, you know, and it was nothing against realtors. I never thought I would ever date one or marry one. I've worked with them for years, but now we're doing it together.
That's so awesome.
And how many kiddos do you have?
We've got 4 girls.
4 girls. Oh my goodness. Brian and Tisha White, let's hear from you. Let's share a little about yourselves and your journey.
Okay, so let's see. Well, oh, he loves me. Put his arms around me.
Look at that.
We just had an anniversary.
Yeah, we just celebrated our 21st anniversary together. And so, you know, I never thought I'd marry a realtor either. When Brian and I got together, we were both working in corporate and both ended up at Dell together and working there. And I left that industry when we started having kids and went to do the stay-at-home mom thing, which was probably the hardest thing I've ever done. And then about 5 years ago, we've always loved real estate. We've always moved a ton. And you know how everyone says, always love real estate. But about 5 years ago, we were moving and just came about like, you should get your real estate license. And so someone had approached me and Brian was like, do it. I was like, oh, okay. He was passionate about it. So I was like, I'll just do it. And then I really got in there and I kind of started researching and studying it. And we were at a place in our life where our boys were, you know, getting to be teens, and Brian was traveling, you know, 3 days a week, maybe 4 days a week with Dell. And so we just wanted to do something to simplify our life a little bit. And, you know, I got in real estate and I was like, gosh, this is something we could really do together, make an awesome living at. And so Brian just studied it like crazy for about 6 months.
It was a good while.
Yeah, it was a good while. And then we just jumped into it. And then our life was nuts for about, it was nuts. The first year was wheels off. We were so used to being corporate and then going from there to completely, you know. She
was used to me not being there is really the truth. She was used to me traveling, and then all of a sudden I was around all the time, and she's like, is there somewhere you could go?
Yeah.
Could you leave? That'd be great if you'd get out of the house.
It was the craziest first year, and we moved again during that time. So, but you know, like they said, we now we're kind of on auto cruise a little bit. And I think one of the secrets for us really has been, you know, a lot of times in real estate, we talk about various personalities because we get the opportunity to work with so many people in our industry. And you really try to figure out people's personality types so that you could figure out how to best work with them. And so Brian and I think we've become, we've invested in understanding each other's personality. And we've invested in even doing that with our children. And because we've taken time to invest in that and we're always exploring that and uncovering it, we figure out how to work together.
Well, the world right now is navigating, many of the people are navigating working together in the same house for the first time. Everyone on this panel, I'm sorry, Elizabeth, most of us on this panel have been working with our spouses for a while.
Yeah.
How do you do it all? You have a successful real estate business. You are raising beautiful, well-rounded children. You're giving back to your community. Dan, Tanin, how do you do it?
One day at a time? Is that a way? Is that a thing? No. But,
yes.
Yeah, you know what?
I think Tisha and Brian said it right. You know, it's finding those personalities. And I think a big thing for us too was dividing and conquering. and our expectations for each other as well, because there's certain things that Dan that's not his forte. That's not what he does. You know, he's really good at negotiations. He's really good at being the people person. He's really good at being the face and like just talking with everybody, keeping things nice and calm. That's Dan. And there's the paperwork and the back end of it that he's not good at keeping up his calendar or, you know, putting notes in the system or things like that. You know, all the transactional kind of things. That's where my strength is. So I know not to harp on him. Well, sometimes I guess I do. To get on him, that's for sure. You know, to do all these things that I know that's not his key strengths. So I know, you know, this is where I need to pick up, and vice versa. Things that, you know, I may not be good at certain things, and
Tanin fills my calendar up every day. You guys know that. So every day I joke with everybody, and I say Tanin makes me work 8 days a week. So every day's like, I got showings tomorrow. You got a listing appointment tomorrow at 2 o'clock. I'm like, what? I don't get a day off. I don't do anything. Like, no, we're gonna go to SeaWorld though. I'm like, what? So, but I joke though. It is a great dynamic. There's definitely no doubt that we pick up the slack where the other one leaves off. And it took us, I think, that first year or so really getting in together that we learned that. We tried to do it like together, like we're gonna both go to this listing appointment together. We're both gonna go show houses together. I'm like, no, that we're wasting too much time doing all these in-betweeners. We got to find out how do we multitask here. You know, you're good at this. You do that, and I'll do this. And we're like, and this worked. We figured it out.
One other thing that we learned was that we can't use the word we on things that need to be just you or me. Because when we sit down and we look at our day and we say, okay, we need to call this person, we need to do this, we need to do that.
Yeah.
Then we leave and we're like, okay, well, who's the we that's doing all this? Is it you or is it me? Like, we have to figure out who the we is.
We didn't get it done.
That's a really great point. I think Jeff and I are guilty of that.
Yeah. It was I can say multiple times we sat around and are you going to call or am I calling? Because this game can't go. All right, I'll call. I'll do the calling. So yeah,
it's funny, you know. I sit here and I watch you guys, and I watch Renee and Jeff, and I love the business that you've created, because for all of us on this panel, family is our world. That's our why, right? And you know, Wes and I have talked in the past because we've been investors and we've been in the real estate for a while, but he's very corporate. And he and I are very, very opposite. I mean, he's finance, he's numbers, and I'm like, oh, that actually, and he's systems, which if you know me, which y'all know me, that's great. And I'm like, oh, this could be really, really good. And then I think about, like working together day in and day out. But what I love that y'all are doing is you're building, like, real estate is very entrepreneurial. I love this industry because we can do what we want and we can serve our clients in whatever way we want at a very high level and build something really memorable. And you guys are building that together. And I think there's something really cool about that. You're building your real estate team, you're building your family, you're building what it is you want that's best for you and serving you. And I really respect that and kind of envy it in a little way. And I don't know if I envy it enough for us to actually work together, but I do. I just think it's a really cool thing you guys are doing as a family and as partners in life and in business.
Mm-hmm. It really is, you know, there's a lot of portions of it that are kind of sacrifices, but like especially when you first get into it and you're figuring it all out, and it's kind of like you're getting there, and you know, when things get hard, they get hard for both of you because you're both like in it together, and so
family and because we're all there together, we're out there in front of. We're all together. Yeah,
we're all together. And so like sometimes when we've had to learn, like when you kind of go down or kind of like you're hitting the bottom, you know, we were doing it together, and who lifts you up then? You know, we're in there together. And so we've had to like kind of learn to ride that wave, get out of that faster, keep each other's energy positive and healthy. And it really has been great because when Brian was at Dell and was doing that kind of business, the kids didn't understand what he was doing. Like they didn't understand the business that he was in. And when we both went into real estate together and I started working a lot more, they see so much clearly how hard we're working, what we're doing, why we're doing it. And they have a good amount of respect for that. You know, they know that we work hard and we make sacrifices, but that we're always there for them because we're here for them. Now, everyone's here right now. So
we're all here.
We're all home.
But we're too here. We've been able to here too often.
right? But we've been able to involve them in the conversations. I mean, so prior in the corporate world, you know, one of our kids actually said, "Hey, Dad, how do you make money talking on the phone all day long?" Right? Sitting in the office in shorts and a t-shirt, and how do you make money on? Well, he didn't know. He just heard my side of the conversation. Well, now we're actually talking about real estate and what does it look like, and what does it look like to build a business, and you know, what does it mean to have a marketing plan? What does it mean to work with clients, and what does customer service look like? And we have all those conversations. So it's not just us. It's you know, our middle son is in a class. He's finishing up a class in entrepreneurship. Oh. And he's been talking about how, Dad, I already know all this stuff, because we're having those conversations about, you know, how do you build a business? What comes first? What's your plan? We talk about all that stuff. It's cool.
Yeah.
So you have a family affair, and again, I know this is weird, Elizabeth. You mentioned that we feel like we know them so well. We do, but the world may not know all the awesome things you do to create that family affair. Dan and Tanin, you include your kiddos a lot. You do a lot in your community. What are some of the examples of how you create that family affair in your business?
Where do you want to start with it? It's we do, man. I think for us, I think we get a lot of it from what we've learned just joining up with what we've been with you as well. You know, just coming from a place of collaboration, as well as just what is that word we always use as far as contribution. Go back to contribute. What can you do to help? You know, and I think if it wasn't real estate, I think that I personally would have found myself in like firefighter, police work, something along, because I enjoy helping people at the end of the day. And real estate's a huge part of that. You know, you're helping somebody sell, you're helping somebody buy. And I love that. That's like the satisfaction I need. But within our community, you know, we're big. We have a huge community that we live in, you know, about 1,300 homes. And we've slowly tried to figure out how can we help these folk, you know? And then we became a part of committees and boards and other little PTAs. There's so many of them, honestly, within the community, between dinner clubs and book clubs and just actively being a part, getting to know your neighbor. One of the things that we notice a lot in our neighborhood, that being on some of these boards, is that we've got so many neighbors that are at arms with each other. Like, they don't talk with each other anymore. So we're like, everybody knows who we are. I wave to everybody. No matter you drive by, we don't just talk all day. Just, hey, how you doing? You know, it's good. How's everybody good? And we ultimately did, about a year ago, maybe more, we did a block party. We do a national night out here in Orlando. It's a big thing where they'll actually send out a police car, barricades, they'll block off the street. And we do that. Everybody's invited, burgers and dogs, get to know your neighbor, you know, talk with each other. And most of these people have never even met each other. They've been here for 5-7 years and they've never even talked to each other. So just those little pieces, and then everybody starts to kind of come out of their little shells and want to be, you know, do it with you. So. And
we've done this even in our very first home, if you remember, over in Stonebriar, before we were on Facebook, before there was all this social media. Brand new built community, and we got together with our neighbors and we were planning potluck parties up at the park, you know. So this was before real estate, and we just do it. I mean, we put a front patio outside in the front yard instead of on the back, because we like to sit out front and see what's going on in the neighborhood. We want to see our neighbors. We want to be out there, and I think it's, no matter what, that's always going to be important to us. And having kids involved, we specifically chose our neighborhood that we lived in. We've lived in East Orlando for 15 years, but we chose our neighborhood that we moved to because it had such a big community base. And there's so many amenities, and we knew it was going to be a good place for our kids to grow up and have an elementary school right down the block from us that we can be a part of. So for us, it's important to love where you live and have a place that's great for our kids to grow up to.
I mean, I get if we could pretty much say the exact words.
What a coincidence.
Everything from the water, so to speak. You know, it's definitely the truth. And I think that, like I said, we got a lot of that from others and watching others kind of do these things. I'm like, why don't we do these things? Why don't we do more of them? And now you do one national night out now. We're like, we should do one in the spring and one in the fall, you know, right when the weather is still good here in Orlando. Because in case you guys don't know, we got about 10 months of summer here. So it's you only got a few little windows where you can enjoy a night out. Versus
we're much better here in Dallas, but
Texas and Florida are the only two states in the United States that celebrate their National Night Out in November. The rest of the country, their day is in August.
Yeah.
So could you imagine if we had our block party in August?
And it's still in the 80s in November. So, I mean,
right.
it'll still be plenty warm.
No.
Yeah.
Brian
it's
and
a little tasty.
Tisha.
Well, Brian, and Tisha, talk about, I'm sorry. I have a little delay on my end, but
Yep.
Brian and Tisha. So one of the things I love watching with Facebook, and you guys are super passionate about social media and getting involved and getting out there. How's that changed your business? I mean, because what I love is y'all aren't scripted. I mean, you're just being y'all, and it's so fun to watch. But how has that changed your business? Are people reaching out more? Are they feeling like they know you? Because again, when I said earlier, it's like you're in your living room. I truly feel like I'm sitting right there with you guys. Did that just kind of come up and you're like, well, look, we're just funny, so let's just put a camera on us? Or what made you decide to do it?
So kind of,
We're so funny.
we kind of started in the early days with, hey, we hear we should do the Facebook Live thing, and so let's do that. And right, I would spend a lot of time researching or coming up with an agenda. Okay, we're going to do it this way, and we're going to talk about these things, and that just never worked. So
mainly because I was in there with them.
That's right. She didn't follow anything that I ever prepared.
I love it. And that's what's so funny about you two.
Like, it wasn't even like forget it. So what happened is, so a couple of things. We figured out that it is fun to just roll with it and just go, okay, you're going to mess up, and it's funnier and it's more engaging. People like it a lot more if when I'm like, really. We just did that. Awesome.
He's like, she said that out loud.
That's awesome. So, but what happens now is, number one, people do know us, and we stay in touch with people. They'll say, "Oh, hey, how's your son doing?" And so and so. Okay, that's creepy.
Yeah.
How would you know that? Well, it's because we're live at least once a week.
Yeah.
I do a business show live on Monday mornings. We do a show together. We do a couple of different things, and it just becomes a natural part. And people think they know it, or they do know us really, really well.
Yeah. And what's been interesting about it is you really, we said to ourselves, what if we just do this once a week for a year? Like, just no matter what, we'll just do it for a year. And then it just becomes like part of who you are, right? You just really you just do it because that's what you do. But you don't get a million people watching it. But then when you talk to people, everyone has seen snippets of it. I mean, just everyone, whether we go into the school or the grocery store or whatever. And so no one ever says, oh, I didn't know you were a real estate agent. Like, that's never happened to me before. Like, everyone's like, how's real estate? How's your business? How are the kids? Like, oh, your hair looks good, or what, whatever. So they, not right now.
It totally does. Just so you know.
After your last video and you're talking about your hair and it's all crazy, and Brian, you're talking about your hair. I mean, that's what's so funny. I was like, well, Brian didn't get a haircut, but I think Tisha did something.
So I'm not allowed to get a haircut. Right. So I have, you guys know, I've kept my hair very, very short for a long time, under the theory that I was cutting off the gray. Well, as you can see, apparently I was leaving the gray and cutting off all of the brown.
Because the gray's only underneath, and I was like, I thought you were going bald. No offense there, man. But
No offense.
For real.
Yeah, right, like for real. And I was like, and then when you started growing out on this, I'm like, you have brown, thick hair. I was like, you need to enjoy all that hair.
And here you have a snippet of our Facebook Live.
Because you guys are so darn funny, and it's like, we put Wes on Facebook Live unexpectedly, and he's just like, you guys are.
No, that was good, Elizabeth. Wes going on Facebook Live was actually awesome too. Dan, how are those haircuts coming?
I just cut mine today. If you didn't notice, I hope you guys don't notice.
You have the same barber as Jeff, and I'm actually quite envious over the last 2.5 months. I think you guys had an advantage, but just saying.
Yeah, about every 6 days, I think I cut my hair. 6 to 7 days, maybe the most. But I like it.
I want to know. I really got to know how to do this, because all of y'all are living in tight quarters. We've all been at home. my husband's doing something different. I'm doing my own thing, but you guys are doing your business together. What happens when there's a disagreement or when adversity creeps in or some sort of challenge? How do you guys handle that in business and relationship and working so closely together?
Ooh.
Yeah,
I know.
Dan is like, I got it.
Dan, he's so good. He takes a time out and he steps outside and paces the front sidewalk. If I did something that kind of went over the lines or I overstepped my boundaries or made some big decisions without involving him in any sort of way, he goes out and he just takes a little walk and then he comes back in and then we're all good again. And then we just pick up and move forward.
Now the neighbors know what's going on in your house. Just
I'm a pacer no matter what. Like, you ever see me, I literally will wear out a mark on the floor just in the tile alone. Ear pods in, pacing, negotiating, talking. It's just something I've grown accustomed to doing. I don't know how to not do it. But yeah, taking a little break out front, taking a little break anywhere, I think for anybody can be healthy. I think ultimately reacting on an instant versus on a bigger scale, you know, I guess my number one thing, as I've always been, is that what can you do at that point? It's already done. So what do you do to fix it? That's really what it comes down to. You know, it's just pick up the pieces and go from there. So I don't dwell on things too much. It's just a matter of, you know, even these last few days, we've got quite a bit of bad. We had such a smooth run, even with COVID, everything else going on. We've had really nice, smooth transactions. And as you know, they can only go on for so long. And eventually things start to kind of like, hey, we're going to walk away. Like, what are you talking about? You can't do that in the middle. We're going to close in like 4 days, you know? And it's just like, oh my God, it just got crazy.
And it all comes at once.
Yeah,
so,
oh yeah.
It'd be nice to spread them out. Just like one this month, maybe like 2 more months, have another one. No. Five at once.
That's not how it works. But do you find your communication is better or your communication skills are better now that you started working together as opposed to before? I would think you'd have to.
Yeah. Honestly, I think it saved our marriage, and I'll tell you why. So you know, my background is in title, so I know a lot of realtors. I know what they're doing, or you think you know. Like, I thought, gosh, real estate is so easy. Anybody can sell real estate and be a realtor, right? That's what you think. And here, my hardworking husband is at home. He did this for 6 years before I joined him, or maybe 8 years. I don't remember. 8 years before I joined him. So every day I'm coming home. I'm like, so how many new contracts do you have? Or, you know, how many new customers do you have? And I think it's so easy. You know, you should just be bringing in customers every day and closings every day. And then I joined him. I'm like, all right, let's go sell some homes and then the reality hits. I'm like, wow, this is not as easy as I thought it was going to be. So I was like, all right, Dan, we're going to go out door knocking today. We're going to go out and do this. He's like, all right, honey, you're going to have to chill out because that's not how I do my business. And if this is how it's going to be, we might need to set some ground rules here on how we're going to work and stay sane during this. And so I don't even remember where I was going with that.
No, but you're right. But it was taking a step back. Like, look, if you do all those things now, there's nothing left. You've called everybody in your sphere. You've knocked on all the doors. You've done everything.
I know where I was going with this. I have so much more respect for what it is that he does during the day, and I got to see firsthand versus just coming home at the end of a long day and saying, okay, why isn't dinner made and why isn't laundry done? What have you done all day? You didn't have a closing or you don't have a new contract. All this should be done and, you know, nice and easy for me to come home. And you think that, but here now I get to see how hard it is and how long he's on the phone and how he's, you know, doing all these things in the background that sometimes laundry isn't done, you know. So I think it
brings more empathy for each other in your positioning. Yeah.
I know for me, if I can flip it on the other side, there's a huge accountability that I think that came in when Tanin came on board. A lot more like, did you do these things? Did you call these things? Did you? And it was like, sometimes, you know, you can let things go a little bit. I can do it tomorrow kind of mentality. But when Tanin came on board, and I think that was a huge part of our excel that we've gone in the last couple of years alone has been because of that as well. So obviously, I did things that she got to see from my side, but I also got her, what she brought to the table was something I didn't carry as well. So.
Good.
Extending that grace to one another. Brian and Tisha, you know, we've had some phone conversations even over the last couple months, and I really find you to be inspiring for a lot of ways. One of them is because you keep a really good mindset. We're all faced with adversity right now, whether it's the business adversity or adversity at home while we try to navigate what this situation brings to us. What do the two of you do to stay focused on mindset and keep that fear out of the driver's seat?
So it's a great question, and the honest answer is it's been something that we've been tackling for years. So you'd never know this, but I used to be super grumpy. I mean, like we went to Disney and Tisha bought me the grumpy hat.
Yeah, I was so grumpy about everything.
Really?
Yeah.
It was just
Do you know that, Elizabeth?
I didn't know that. I can't even imagine Brian and Tisha ever having any grumpiness in that relationship at all. No, I didn't.
Grumpiness, like you just really couldn't.
No. Like
nothing would really be up to his standard or whatever, and it just would be grumpy. That was his nickname for him. I was like, "Oh, you're so grumpy. You're always so grumpy."
Wow.
So some of it has been a focused effort on working on that. A lot of it is God's grace and absolutely changing my life. And some of it is just now we've got this view of I don't want to be positive. I want to be aggressively positive, right? So I literally have a goal to be so happy and positive, encouraging that you either love it or it's annoying. And if you're not a positive and aggressive person, you'll leave.
It's true. I mean, and now he's like, how are we going to get the morning started? Like, and I'm like, oh my gosh, now you're too positive.
So it's a thing.
It's true.
I literally think, Dan, you mentioned this a minute ago, but why are we looking behind us? We're not going there. Why are we looking at the past? We're not going there. So, okay, that happened. Great. So I talk to our kids about whatever happened. And one of our first questions, okay, what are you going to do about it? That happened now. So what's our plan to fix it? How do we make it better? How do we make a difference? And it doesn't mean we don't get negative. It doesn't mean we don't have everybody hits the bottom. But when you fall off, the key to success is not do you fall off or not, do you crash or not? It's how quickly do you get back up?
Mm-hmm. And sometimes the answer is like eat a sandwich and take a nap. I mean, that's we have all boys. It's like, look, you just need to eat a sandwich and take a nap, and that changes the perspective on a lot of stuff. That literally is great advice for life, to eat a sandwich, take a nap. But we've just changed. We've changed over the years because we like to say we have failed more than anyone we know. We just keep like failing forward, and we just and now when we get punched in the face, like I was saying earlier, like we get punched in the face together because it's our business, and we get punched in the face together, and we've sat there looking at each other like, what have we done? And then, we get back up in the morning, we get up early enough to read our Bible and spend some quiet time in the morning.
Gratitude.
Have our gratitudes and get our mind fresh. And then we go after it again, and we keep getting punched and we keep getting back up, but that cycle gets shorter, it gets quicker. And you realize like it's all going to work out if you keep your attitude positive, if you eat healthy, if you drink your water, if you, do your things, you are going to have a great life no matter what's happening around you. Because Brian was doing this little, the 7 Habits of Highly Effective Teens with our littlest one this morning. They're just kind of slowly working through that workbook. And the one this morning was, I heard Brian and they're talking to him and he was like, you believe what you tell your mind. Like you believe what you tell yourself. That absolutely becomes your truth. So you could either tell yourself positive things or negative things. And that's just truth. I mean, so tell yourself positive, happy, healthy things, and you'll be a positive, happy, healthy person.
You get to decide if today's a good day or not. If today may suck, right? And you can tell yourself, oh, this sucks because of this. And woe is me, and woo, I'm going to go eat worms. Or you can tell yourself, well, that was terrible, but what am I going to do about it? Now we're going to go have a great day. And we're going to do this to change it. And you will.
Sandwich and a nap.
Yeah. Right.
Sandwich and a nap. That's the best.
That's right.
Brian, that's what happens. We were talking about communication with couples or whatever. And if we get fussy, for Brian, it's like, Brian, just go have a sandwich and a nap. Like, I'm and then he's like, okay.
It's like a safe word.
He goes in and takes a nap.
Safe word.
Mm-hmm. Safe word.
Anybody detect a new hashtag coming up?
Yeah,
I'm
thinking that.
It's critical when we're all stuck inside together. You know what I mean? It's like you go take a nap, and we'll try not to let the dogs bark.
I love it.
Mm-hmm.
Dan and Tanin, I'd love to hear from you guys on that. How do you make sure the fear stays out of your driver's seat? And is it contagious? I mean, if you're one of you is having a hard day, how do you not? It is contagious. How do you not get sucked into that, or how do you not become the overzealous one to say, "Come on, let's go"? Right?
Yeah, I think Brian and Tisha did the same thing. I think that maybe it's not so much a sandwich and a nap, but we definitely have very similar things. I mean, there was even a time right before COVID. I was telling Tan, like, look, I'm like, I can either go on vacation by myself, or we can go on vacation together. And then Tanin got us. We actually booked
That's
a cruise.
only because I'm so cheap. I'm like, there's no money for vacations. We've got, our girls are in sports. So we've got playing travel ball. We're going to a new state. I mean, he had 4 trips booked just for volleyball this year. And I said, those are your vacations, honey. You're going to Atlanta. You're going to St. Louis. You're going to Minneapolis. He's like, that's not a vacation. He's like, I'm going on a real vacation, not sports related. He's like, you're either coming with me or I'm going on my own. But he's like, I need a break. I said, fine, I'll go with you. We'll go on vacation.
Books a cruise.
And then
COVID
happens.
Yeah. We're going to leave the day, like pretty much the lockdown started, like when it got really bad. That was like, we kept it like, we're going to go, maybe we'll go. I don't know. Can you? I'm not sure.
And then when we decided, no, we're definitely not going no matter what. They shut everything down anyway. So we're like, oh, well.
We were going on the 14th of March. Mm-hmm. I was ready. And March 13th that night, they canceled it. I was like, guess we're not going. So it's like you get all excited because you need that break and you need that vacation. You're like, okay, we have different plans now. So
that's and I think that's a great. You just said it. At that point, it was like, okay, well, what are we gonna do? I guess we're not going anywhere. So try and reframe it. Okay, let's get past this little hump. Have a sandwich, take a nap, and let's get back to it again. And then I think that's what we did. At the end of the day.
We're going to use that all the time now, Brian.
Yes, I like it. I like a sandwich and I like naps.
If I start telling Wes, I'm going to have a sandwich and take a nap, he'll be like, what are you talking about? But I'm going to put myself to bed.
Just hand Wes Brian and Tisha's cell phone number. Call them, they'll explain it.
And here's the funny thing. So Brian and Wes knew each other from Dell, so they're good friends, and that's how we met. So I'll just say, wow. Wes, call your buddy Brian. I'm going to take a nap with the sandwich.
I think I'm going to change your contact card in my cell phone to sandwich and a nap. There you go. I'm loving that.
But I feel as a team, working together, I know when we have a file that is maybe getting a little crazy or a little hairy and it's stressful, I know what he's feeling and I know what he's going through. So it allows me to kind of be there more supportive and taking some other things off his plate so that he can focus on, making everything.
It's true. I think it's a two-way street, and I definitely see it on Tanin's end. If she starts to get, because obviously, I did 8 years. I never had a transaction coordinator. I've done all my contracts, my inspection periods, appraisals. I did all that on my own, build out my own stuff all the time. And then, so having her do all that for me, it makes a huge. It frees up more of my time, so I can go focus on other issues. But I think that if I see her getting overwhelmed, same thing. I'll get in. I'll start programming, setting up all the calendar events, and doing all that. It's a two-way street, for sure. But
it does. It helps. So you can sense when your partner is getting a little stressed out, and just kind of being there for him.
One of the things that we learned when we started doing this together, that we really we were just flying through life. And some of it was, we were younger. We were just, driving. And so we didn't get into real estate until we were already in our 40s. And so we knew very quickly, what we were horrible at. We're looking at each other. We're like, no, I'm horrible at that. He's like, no, I'm horrible at that. I'm like, no, I can't do that. He's like, well, I can't do that. So we have an assistant. And she is our like lifesaver. Her name is Christina, and she really, we had an assistant before her, and she was our lifesaver as well. So, but then we got Christina. Christina is really a lifesaver to us, and she takes care of a lot of things because we're actually terrible at a lot of things. I mean, we're great at being with people, working with people. It's true, like, but paperwork and like calendar stuff. And we're like, you didn't put that on my calendar. Well, you didn't put that on my calendar. We get in the biggest fight about like stopping, and we fight longer about who put something on the calendar than like, it would take to just put it on the calendar.
It really is funny. Hey, can you do this on Thursday at whatever time? I was like, just put it on my calendar. It's like,
well, it's like what Dan and Tanin were saying about the we, right? We will do this. It has to be Tanin will do it. Brian will do it. Tisha will do it. Dan will do it.
Yeah.
Well,
you guys crack me up. Like I knew that we were going to be crying. I have tears running today. All right. Question for each of you to share. What would be one piece of advice that you would give to real estate agents today? Brian and Tisha, you want to take that one first?
So I would tell you to come from generosity and love your sphere. There are already people that know you and love you. Spend all of your time with them. Yes, you can buy leads. Yes, you can do a wide variety of other places to get business, but there's already people that live near you. They live across the street from you. They live down the street. They go to church with you. They're on your kids' baseball team, volleyball, whatever. So go make sure that everybody you know knows that you can and would love to help them. And if you come from contribution and you live an authentic life to try to help everybody you come in contact with, whether that benefits you or not, then that'll come through and they will love calling you back, or they will love introducing you to somebody else they know that's moving.
Mm-hmm. And I would say, everyone's had to slow down in their schedule because, all the kids' sports are everything that we used to be doing to keep ourselves busy is gone. So like Brian said, in the spirit of serving is find somewhere to serve or to give right now that's maybe outside of your normal area. We have a great charity here called Mission Moms that a friend of mine started, and I'm just doing extra with them when I can this week because I have the time, and gosh, a lot of people need help right now.
That's such a great reminder. And when we're focusing on helping others, then it helps us keep things in our own lives in perspective too.
We do. So this time, and this may be Texas specific, so I don't know how the rest of the country works. But right now, this is tax season, property tax season. So every year, and it keeps getting bigger and bigger, but we've got a website set up where we help people protest their property taxes for free. And we run their numbers. And I started running ads right to it to get people up. But now we post it on all the community boards. And we help hundreds of people come to our website, give us all of their information, and sign up because we're running all of their numbers so they can protest property taxes for free. We save them money. They've given us everything. And then I have permission to call them and say, how did it go? Do you have any questions? Can we help you? And it's purely we don't get anything for it. We don't charge for it. And we get, I think we had 4 deals last year come from that, when it was purely free when we came from contribution.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's opening the door to giving you an opportunity to earn the relationship to develop from there. So it's smart coming from contribution. Dan and Tanin, what would be one piece of advice you'd give to realtors today?
You want to start?
Good.
I'll start. I love everything that Brian and Tisha said. 100%. I agree with you guys. And I think my advice to any realtor is our job is so flexible. We set our schedules. We have the opportunity to make time where we want to make time. And so, you're in the business of real estate, which is also helping raise property values as well. Mm-hmm. I would say get out there and get to know your neighbors, kind of piggybacking off of Brian and Tisha, get out there and get to know people, get to know your neighbors, not just see them driving by and know, oh, that's the one that drives the red car or whatever. I mean, really get to know people who surround you. You never know what opportunities, even beyond real estate, beyond anything. It opens so many opportunities to meet people and help people. And now I feel like we're one of the people in our communities that are kind of the go-to. We bridge people, we connect people. You need this? Okay, we know somebody. You know, they come and ask our experience. I just got a text yesterday from a neighbor I've never met before, but she finds me through Facebook Messenger, and she said, I know you're part of the Cypress Lakes Kids Connect and the Babysitters Club that we have here. And she said, who would you recommend? I would trust your recommendation for a babysitter for a child. So things like that. It's just to always be a helping resource for your community.
I think for me, depending on, I guess if you're saying like new agent versus or experienced agent, what do you think? New agent?
Either. And you know, I think, Dan, that it really covers all bases, because right now what we've been really seeing is that all realtors are faced with making a decision. Are we going to allow fear to seep in and become inactive? And I mean inactive in our action today. Or are we going to just navigate through the day and say, okay, I don't know all of the answers. I can't necessarily control all of my environment, but I am choosing to get into action and move through what this looks like to continue to serve.
So for me, I think one of the greatest things that I love, especially about coming in and getting to know you guys all better, was that surrounding yourself with a very positive, you know, Brian Tricia said the same thing, surrounding yourself with positive people, you know, I think is going to be a huge step in the right direction. I don't think that we really align ourselves with anybody. I think that kind of brings us down. But at the same time, like people that are like, I think that are new into real estate or trying or struggling a little bit, trying to find those that are doing it, find those that are doing the business, and piggyback or be in touch. What are you doing? How did you? I mean, we're an open book. You know, people ask me questions. In fact, just before we went on, we've got a very complex deal in which I'm spilling the beans to another realtor, basically telling them everything that we do they have to sell a listing first in order to buy our listing, and they're having some problems. So I'm trying to coach this guy along, trying to say, look, this is what we do every day, anyways. I think that you got to find. If you're not doing it, find someone that is doing it. You know, kind of like a what do you call that? Not a moderator,
a mentor.
A mentor.
Yeah.
I couldn't get that. But yeah, get a mentor. I think there's one thing that I look back on in my own career. It was back when the market tanked, and nobody was offering help. In fact, if you came to somebody and said, "Hey, can I piggyback?" You know, they're like, "No, I don't want you to see where I got this from. I don't have the last deal that I'll ever have." You know, kind of mentality. So there was no chance for that. So I had to just do it by straight grit, you know, just every day show up and try and sell a house that there's 1,000 on the market for at that point in time. But anybody else, I could say, like, you find somebody that's doing the business out there and see if you can learn a nugget or two and go from there.
Which has been so fun with our brokerage that we, you know, are all from different places, but we all know each other because we have, you know, our virtual campus, and it really truly is based off of collaboration. And, you know, you're not just locked into collaborating with, you know, the people that are within a mile of you that you're competing with. You're collaborating with people, you know, in different cities like you guys, who can all really collaborate with each other. And we never had the opportunity to know people really like that outside of a mile of where we were. So that's been a huge blessing for us to expand our base of agents that we know, you know, outside of our city or area.
Yeah,
that was always a big aha for me. It's coming from that collaborative mindset and not the competitive mindset. It changes your business, your world, your personality. It changes everything, and it's a great feeling. And so, yeah, you're not competing. I mean, we're not in the same markets, but even if we were, we would still operate the same. It's like, what are you doing here? This is a challenge I'm having. So
Dan and Tanin and Jeff and I are, and we still, right? Like it's how we roll. I like to say that we're on a fast train and we're on it all together. And there's a reason why we're all moving at the same speed, because we're helping each other.
Yep.
I think Tanin brought up something earlier, and it was about being plugged in. You know, I think for me, coming from a smaller brokerage before we came on to where we currently are now, is just, I never was dialed in. I think that, you know, when I go to these functions even now and I see everybody out with their cell phones taking the pictures of the screens. And so I think you really got to get into it. Get the book, get the paper out, make the notes, take that stuff down to memory. So when you're flying back on your plane flight later on, or you're sitting at your kid's soccer game or whatever it is, to open up those little notes. And for me, I think that was life-changing. I think for me, when I finally like gave in for the first time and said, all right, maybe I don't know everything. Let's try and figure out what it is that I do. You know, what can I learn? And I think that was my aha moment.
Yeah, totally.
Are you queuing them up, Elizabeth, for the big one, the big question?
Oh. The hot seat question?
Okay. Yeah.
Sure. Okay. So we're going to ask each of y'all. Brian and Tisha, I'll have you go first. Okay. What does leading from the heart mean to you?
Okay. So you want to go first? I'll go first.
Go ahead.
I'll go first. So I think leading from the heart means being authentic and being yourself, because we all have a group of people that we lead, and we do that naturally. And that group of people is determined by who you are. So you're going to, if you lead authentically and you are your authentic self, then you're going to lead people because they resonate with you. I think so often we want to be or seem like we're somebody else, somebody we're not. We want to try to be somebody that we're not. And what happens is either we resonate with nobody or we resonate with the wrong people. Mm-hmm. So when you lead as your authentic self, people are going to respond to you. They see something in you that attracts them, or that they want to emulate, and you can really make a difference for people.
Mm-hmm. And so I absolutely love what he says, and I'd rather say what he said than what I'm going to say. But since I'm following that, I'm going to say this.
Well, I learned that from you, so I stole your answer.
Since he totally took my answer. Yes. I wonder why he wanted to go first.
I gave you a chance. I asked you.
One for Brian. Zero for Tisha.
One of the things that I'm going to say then, to just follow along with that, and one of the things that we've learned over the years, if you want to be a leader who's coming from the heart, you need to show up. You need to be present. You need to make your yes a yes and your no a no. So, you know, when you make a commitment to someone, show up. If you want more friends, more greatness in your life, show up, make relationships, seek out the people that you want to be with, and show up. And life, you know, all those things that you're asking for, you'll get them if you show up for your life. So
absolutely,
that was a great answer, and it complements perfectly.
Yay!
Well, they took our answer, so I think we're all right.
Testons.
Yeah, I think that, I don't know if I can say it any better. I got to be honest. Maybe next time, can you ask us the question first, and then we can.
Sure. Yeah. Next time you go first.
No, but it is true though, and I think that's you hit it all. I think even on smaller platforms such as like my personal Facebook page, I just don't, you know, leading from the heart, being authentic. Those are all great things that we focus on. We love that whole concept. That's why we give so much in our community. We do a ton of things that we just do for free, just because we just love. We see that people enjoy these things. They know that like they get a benefit out of that. They know that they want to do these things, but they don't have the time or the effort or whatever it may be. And then we step up and take on to that. And I love seeing that there's a smile on people's faces and so forth. That's all we really need. And it comes naturally after that. You know, you do it so many times and someone's like, you know what? I like these people. If I was going to sell a house, I'm going to go to them because I think that they have what it is, values that I'm looking for, like, you know, that they sell already. So
I think I probably go through this world with rose-colored glasses and looking at the positive and not focusing on the negative. I hate watching the news just for that reason. I have Dan fill me in on what's going on in the world because I can't take it in. So I feel like I have this opportunity to show positivity and to keep it moving forward, that whole pay it forward thing. I love it. Now that I have the time to do it, I spend a lot of time working 60 to 80 hours a week and just burned out, and I didn't get back. I didn't get back for years and years and years. So when I finally had the opportunity, I think I dove in feet first. I was like, I want to be a part of this. I want to go to this community function. I want to be a part of the schools, and I want to be here. And it has nothing to do with real estate whatsoever. It just feels good to do it. And when you do it, other people see it and they want to join you and they want to do it. So it creates this ripple effect, and it just makes everything better. So for me, that's what leadership from the heart is. I mean, you do it with the intention of it just makes you feel good, and the people surrounding you see it, they all want to do it. So
it's contagious.
It is contagious. We knew they were going to show up and deliver here, didn't we, Elizabeth?
I know, and selfishly, I'm just glad we got to spend time with you guys because I miss seeing all of you in real life, and we didn't get to see y'all at shareholders, but I love this. I love our time together, anytime.
What we didn't mention too is Dan and Tanin and Brian and Tisha, you are rock stars in so many ways. You've also earned the highest award that can be awarded in eXp Realty. You're all icon agents. So kudos to you for not only giving back, but serving at such a high level in your real estate business. You guys inspire me every day.
People can reach you guys because you both have teams in different places, but give your contact information, share that with others.
Let you guys go first.
Okay.
Anna and Tanin, you guys need to go first this time.
We're with Dan and Tanin, the Teston team, testonteam.com. Our cell phone, 407-509-0211 here, Central Florida, East Orlando specialty. That's it.
Awesome.
So, and we're the BlueFuse Group. You can find us at amazinghomesinDFW.com, or our mobile number is 817-403-9275.
Oh, that was his radio voice.
Oh my gosh, this was awesome. We love you guys so much. Thank you for carving time out for us today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.
Bye, guys. Have a good day.
You too. Thank you.
Bye.